So, picture this. You wake up in the morning on this fancy day called April 1st, aka the goofiest of Goober Day. And you happen to stumble upon your fancy site called Twitter, I know, right? And you happen to see a post by Stormhaven Studios. It's called Stormhaven Studios April 21st, 2024, aka the April Fool's post. Every game does this. It's nothing new, but it's fun. It's something that's a little fun for every game studios to do. So they talk about some funny things. What? Longer nights? What? Oh my god, you guys are funny. What? I don't want to be in perpetual darkness for 8 years. What? Item stacking limits? What? Oh my god, you guys are funny. Oh my god, what's this? What's this crazy thing? PvP Proving Grounds? Fight 1v1 free for all or party versus party? What? Improving Grounds against the drifters and prove who's the best of the best? And then you log in. There's an update. And when you get in, you see it. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Annoying Llama, also part of Static Group Live, and we're here to tell you guys about Embers Adrift. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Annoying Llama, and like I said, and we are here to talk about the PvP Proving Grounds. Now, if you don't know what Proving Grounds is, it is a new PvP activity, not really a mode, but just essentially an activity that you can play in Embers Adrift, and it's here in New Haven. So it's in New Haven Valley. So it's for beginners, starters, free trials. Anybody can play it. If you play the game and you have fun with it and you're in New Haven, you can play it. And I think it's one of the best features they've added, just even as a side little activity. It's probably one of the best features I've ever seen entered into Embers Adrift, and soon the mailing system will come in soon. But yeah, no, it's something really cool. So let's talk about it. I'm here to talk about it. So where is it located? Like I said, it's in New Haven Valley. You can enjoy yourself with that. Like I said, anybody can join in. And how it works is that you have a little bit of an arena that's in the area, and when you enter the arena, anybody else that enters with you that is not partied up can fight you. It's a free-for-all. You can do 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s, and you can just kind of kill whoever's in the arena. When you die, of course, you grab your bag. It sits right outside of the arena. And it gives you also a nice little buff that's called the player versus player. Well, it's like you can say a debuff, or basically a little tiny buff, a little activation mode. And it helps you with this. So I'll read it off here. Resist against other players. Plus 50 stun, daze, and movement effects. Plus 25 physical, mental, and chemical and ember damage. Plus 25 physical, mental, chemical, and ember debuffs. So essentially what this means is that it does prevent you from getting stun locked to death. Same thing with fears and everything like that. It prevents a lot of CC. You still can CC people. It's just not as effective. It's not gonna last them the whole 5 to 10 seconds. When a brigand can hit you, they're not gonna stun you for the whole 1 minute. It's usually probably a 5 to 6 second cool 5 to 6 seconds stun, if not 2 to 3 seconds. It's really huge for new players. They can actually do damage to you. So even as a higher player, as if I try to go with level 50 as a level 1, I can still do damage to the level 50. It's just I won't, you also have to intake the health that a level 50 can still whoop your ass, but it won't go as far as oh, I cannot damage him or anything like that. So you do got to take into account levels do matter when it comes to the PvP Proving Grounds. You can even have set up little events and stuff like that on the side too. So I think it's really cool. You have a little stage and stuff like that, and you have the whole thing itself. But when it comes to the actual function of the PvP, it does work. But I think one of the coolest functions of the PvP is that how the combat works as gameplay style. The combat in Embers Adrift is very interesting. That when you play PvE, the unsheath and sheathing method, comes down, with your movement. When you unsheath your weapon, you slow down your movements and stuff like that. So you really have to really time how you're kind of getting into it. I feel like with the way the combat works already into the game, it actually creates a more essentially more in-depth PvP system. So I'm not really gonna say WoW has like a bad system, but I'm gonna compare it to WoW for a little bit. You know, World of Warcraft, you just auto attack things. You know, you don't really slow down movements when you take out your weapon. You're just kind of running out there. WoW's PvP is really fun of its own self because, you know, I got a lot of spells, classes, and everything like that. But the way Embers Adrift works is that it really comes down to your weapon, which abilities that you use. If you're a healer, it's not like you're going to be really OP in this. You can be OP in the sense that you can heal, but you're going to be also taking on, you know, people who can actually do damage. Certain builds I think are really interesting, and one, I will get to that in a second. But two, I think certain builds actually create such a sense of variety. It allows different stats that you normally wouldn't use in PvP or your PvE. You know, certain stats you would usually focus on PvE do kind of work in here. And one of them I do want to, actually two of them I want to really talk about will be really great PvP stats, is the combat movement and resilience. Now, you might think, oh, combat movement, well, why is that important? Well, in PvE, if you guys don't know what combat movement is percent modification to overall movement speeds while in combat stance. This stat is only active when in combat stance. So now, again, unsheathing your weapon, certain stats activate when you're in combat stance. It's essentially, you know, you're ready to fight. It's your unsheath stance. And when you're in that combat stance, you are moving a lot slower. But with combat movement, when you unsheath your weapon, you actually move around a lot faster when unsheathing. So someone who has a slower combat movement than you can easily back out of a fight a little bit better. You can engage them a little bit faster. And though it won't affect the outside of the running speed, you can still, it still kind of works when you have to unsheath your weapon and herp and like do this. So rangers, usually what I've learned to do is, like, you know, cast an ability would automatically take out my ranging, and you essentially kind of circle around the arena to try to, you know, take out your mob or the player with range. If you're a melee, it allows you to engage the person a little bit faster, and if someone doesn't have a faster combat movement than you and they're in range or something like that, you can engage them a little bit faster. So these certain little things do help you a lot when it comes to this. You could say, like, you know, haste and just regular movement as a whole, I think also would be a really good thing, but also movement in the actual stat movement, which increases your actual movement while not in combat stance, is also a really big one too. Now, haven't seen really any gear with regular movement on, probably I think to later on into the game. Wardens with their certain buffs, like, you know, Lay of the Land, I think could work too. You can use that as an advantage to actually just run up on someone, or just like kind of just keep dodging them around the arena. And I think having the combat movement and just movement as a whole, as these two stats, are going to be big when it comes to just doing PvP as a whole. Now, when it comes to resilience, I think is the most important stat as a whole for tanks. But for PvP, I think it would be great for you guys to actually have fun with this. Now, one of the biggest things for resilience, and let me read this off to you, a % chance at a saving throw. When your health drops to 0, the stat determines if you are healed instead of knocked out. It also reduces the bonus damage applied to heavy and critical hits. The stat is only active in combat stance, and combat stance is really important that you need to understand that. So when you're running around and stuff like that, and you end up getting hit, you know, if you're running around, you're not going to get saved by that combat stat. But if you pull out your weapon right before you're about to die, or you're about to use a casting heal or something like that, especially as a support class like myself, you essentially get saved from a death. Now, originally in normal like PvE gameplay, when if you end up getting hit with a resilience save, it will heal you a little bit, just enough just to get that, so someone can, you know, land that last minute heal or something like that, or you can lay that simple, like, you know, damage mitigation to help you just, you know, again, not die. Well, in PvP, it drops your health down to 0, but it doesn't actually kill you. You don't go down at all. It just drops your health down to 0, and you essentially are saved from that, that situation of you dying. So you can lay up that last minute heal, you can lay up that last minute, you know, clutch fucking attack movements attacks that you do on the target that allows you to actually get that last minute hit in and, you know, get the win. I think these are really big, important things that you need to look for when it comes to your gear. Of course, you know, things like hit, you know, penetration and stuff like that, those can be a huge part into just laying down damage. But when it comes to like defensive stats or just straight up PvP stats, these allow you to actually do a lot more when it comes to just kind of having fun with the game and just kind of figuring something out. course, resist, you know, physical resist, chemical, ember, and all that stuff. Like, those are big things, you know, that I would say that are in the game. When it comes to the question, like, okay, well, what's the point? Like, what's the point of PvP? Like, why would they even add this? Again, it's a fun little mode. Personally, for me, it's a fun little mode to add into the game. I think it's something that's interesting, and it allows a little more in depth. Again, there are people who have always asked for PvP in the game. You know, the devs are like, well, maybe, what, I don't know, blah, blah. But now that it's in the game, people can have a lot of fun with it. You can just battle it out with your friends and just see how fun it is, and, you know, how, you know, see who win, you know, in a fight. You can use it to test out builds. There's a lot of test dummies around here, so you can test out certain builds and how certain abilities work and have a little bit of fun with that. Another thing I think it would be great for is hosting like competitions and stuff like that. You know, little like community events. You know, it's like, you know, whoever can win can win like 10 gold or something like that. You know, something for the devs to have a little bit of fun with, or people who are streaming like myself, you know, want to do like a little community thing and bring everybody together and have a little bit of fun with it. I also think one of the biggest things I think will be really cool with this is that people have like beefs in the game too. You have a beef, you know, you want to have a little bit of fun with that. You know, settle a beef down. You know, it's tough out here in these streets. And one day I might, you know, and be like, yo, bro, settle that 1v1, my guy. So I think one of the biggest things to take from this is that Embers Adrift is adding a lot more to the game. And when it comes to this, it allows people to just kind of like do a little bit more in the beginning zone. And I feel like I'm just rambling at this point, but screw it. But I'm just gonna say PvP is fun. It's very enjoyable. I'm glad Embers Adrift added it into the game, and I hope you guys definitely enjoy it too. If I feel like I rambled too much in the video, I do apologize. I just really love this mode, and I think it's really fun. Yes, guys, so that will be all for me today. For those who, if you guys haven't followed Static Group Live, please follow them. They are a freaking amazing group. I love them so much. Thank you guys so much for just like just kind of giving out this content. If you guys haven't followed me, I am an Annoying Llama, or twitch.tv/Annoying Llama, also on YouTube. And you guys have been showing so much love to that free trial guide that I released. So you guys have been showing a lot of love with that. So thank you guys so much. Be the best llamas you can be. Have some fun, and just, I love you guys so much. Thank you.